Good morning. Today is Wednesday, February 28th, 2024. It's approximately 12 p.m. My name is Christine Burke. I'm a public utility law judge with the Maryland Public Service Commission. We're here today for an evidentiary hearing in case number 9505R, which is captioned the continuing investigation of the electric fuel and purchase power cost adjustment charges of Hagerstown Light Department. May I have the appearances of counsel, please, starting with the company.
Thank you, Your Honor. It's a pleasure to be here in person. Appreciate it. My name is Tom Rudebush of Duncan Weinberg, Genzer, and Pembroke, appearing on behalf of the Hagerstown Light Department.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Brock Miller on behalf of the Office of People's Counsel.
And good afternoon. It is afternoon.
Good afternoon. Harrison Scher, on behalf of the Office of Staff Counsel for the Maryland Public Service Commission.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Do we have a preliminary matter?
We do, Your Honor. I'd like to have marked as an exhibit HAG 1, the notice of publication for this hearing, 9505R. I've given copies, here's copies for the court reporter and Your Honor. And I've given copies to other counsel for their review.
Is there any objection to the admission of the certificates of publication?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay. The certificates of publication that were filed February 21st, 2024, mail log number 307742, will be marked and entered into the record as Hagerstown Exhibit 1.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Does the company have any witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to call Mr. Nathan Freidinger to the stand.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
I do.
Mr. Freidinger, could you state your name and business address, please?
My name is Nathan Freidinger. I'm the Deputy Director of Electric Operations for the City of Hagerstown Light Department, 425 East Baltimore Street, Hagerstown, Maryland, 21740.
And can you describe your involvement in this case here today?
I oversee the operations of the department. I prepare budgetary documents, prepare testimony or exhibits for the Maryland Public Service Commission, perform all the regulatory reporting, involved with the purchase of wholesale electric supply, et cetera.
Thank you. Your Honor, I'd like to have marked as an exhibit HAG 2, a 3-page document that was mail log number 307167. And I actually don't have extra copies at the moment.
Does anyone need a copy?
Your Honor.
Okay. So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. Do you have a copy of the exhibit in front of you?
I do, yes.
And looking at it's a 3-page document labeled Schedule HAG 2, HAG 2A, HAG 2B. Looking at the first page, can you tell us what this document shows? Well, let me ask this first of all. Did you prepare this document?
I did prepare this document.
And looking at the first line of the first page, can you tell us what this document shows?
The first line indicates the credit due to customers based off of the 2023 ACA calculation.
And the second line?
The second line is the overcollection of funds from the monthly fuel and purchase power cost adjustment through that period of 2023.
Thank you. And line 3 shows, can you describe what line 3 shows?
Line 3 shows the sum of both credits.
And then there's a calculation that you perform between lines 3 and lines 4. Can you describe what you're doing there?
So lines 4 is the estimated sales of kilowatt hours for the calendar year 2024 period. This is based off of the 2023 kilowatt hour sales. That taking line 3, the credit due to customers, dividing it by the kilowatt hour sales estimated, gives you the ACA factor, the annual cost adjustment factor for 2024.
And that factor is shown on line 5.
That's correct.
I have no further questions, Your Honor. The witness is available for cross-examination.
Does the Office of People's Counsel have any questions?
No, Your Honor, I do not.
Staff?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Fritinger, I do have some questions. Regarding the estimated kilowatt hour sales for 2024, I think staff noted in testimony that there was an increase, a 2% increase in energy use. Is that correct?
Based off the testimony, I believe that is correct.
Okay. Is the estimated kilowatt hour sales adjusted for that when they're, or will that reflect in the next period?
That will reflect in the next period.
Okay. With respect to the new power service agreement that begins, I believe, June 1st, that process for the RFP, how was that developed?
That was developed by our consultant, GD&S and Associates. They drafted our anticipated method of procuring energy and requested costs from various suppliers based on those methods, and we narrowed it down to a short list of suppliers and found AEP Energy Partners to be in the best interest, the most cost effective.
Okay. Do you know how many suppliers that RFP was sent to?
The original list, I do not, without guessing. It may have been 8, 10. I really don't recall.
Do you recall how many bids you received?
From the original list, prior to the short list, it was said the guess that I have is maybe 6 to 8 suppliers. The short list narrowed it down to 2.
Okay. And who does the review of those RFPs?
GDS and Associates reviews those RFPs and provides them to Hagerstown Light Department staff, provides their recommendations, and ultimately Hagerstown has the final decision.
The original Energy Harbor contract that expires, that included charges for NITS capacity and transmission, correct?
At one point in time, so it evolved from 2005 when it was first implemented. The most recent amendment to the contracts, or amendments to the contracts, pulled NITS out as a pass-through charge. Transmission enhancement charges were, and always have been through the life of that contract, a pass-through charge.
Right, so the new contract with AEP doesn't include any of the NITS,
Correct.
the
Correct. It's
capacity.
right. It's energy, and they will administer our renewable portfolio standard requirements.
Mhm.
And I believe that's about it. Everything else will be passed through directly from PJM to Hagerstown, as opposed to where before it was passed through from PJM through Energy Harbor to Hagerstown. AEP will not be in that loop.
Okay. I'm going to refer to an attachment that was made to staff's testimony, which was attachment B. It was a letter or memo dated October 11th, 2023. Are you familiar with that memo? It was provided as part of a bench data request. Do you have a copy of that?
I may have it in my packet of,
Oh, attachment B?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, which,
It's a memo. It says City of Hagerstown on top, from the Hagerstown Light Department to Scott Nice Warner, City Administrator.
I'm familiar with it. I don't have it in front of me.
I have a copy in my, if you'd like me to.
Yeah, I have my copy, so if you could.
May I get up?
Yeah. Do you, somebody have an extra copy? Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I prepared this document.
Okay. I just, the question I have, I guess, is related to page 2 with the increase to a residential customer being a 45% increase. The, is that due to the, well, it's due to the, I'm asking, I guess, is it due to the new contract?
The new contract and, market rates for energy really push that cost up.
Okay. Is there an impact based on the new contract not including those other charges that we discussed, the NITs, the transmission capacity?
No.
Okay, so there's not, that increase that's
So this,
listed here?
yeah, this chart, I don't have the numbers behind it, but when I developed this chart, I estimated NITs and capacity, put those estimated values in with the energy for AEP's cost to provide this to our city administration, to give them a general idea of true comparison numbers.
Okay, so this is inclusive of those PJM directly,
Correct.
okay.
Estimates,
costs.
but yes.
Okay. That clarifies that. Do you know whether any of the other bids that were made were formulated in a way where those charges were included?
No, they weren't. Well, I take that back. Energy Harbor's bid was to carry through as if with no alterations. However, their dollar per megawatt hour cost was higher just for the energy component alone than what AEP was willing to provide us.
The PJM annual membership fee that is invoiced directly to Hagerstown, was there a change in how that was received from 2020 through now?
There was a change. I don't recall which years, but the PGM membership fee used to be the pass-through charge, just like NITS. So through First, or it's probably First Energy Solutions at the time, I don't recall, directly from them to the city of Hagerstown. So it was included in the wholesale bill itself. At some point in time, I believe it was when the name changed from First Energy Solutions to Energy Harbor, is when that change took effect, and PJM began to bill us directly.
Is that increase that's reflected in page 2 of your memo, is that inclusive of the annual membership fee costs?
I don't believe so.
Are there any questions in light of my questions?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would ask Mr. Rubish for a bench data request that I will send about, since Mr. Fritinger wasn't certain about some of the number of bids and the short list that he referred to.
Sure.
So I will ask for that in a written form. Does Office of People's Counsel have anything to present?
No, Your Honor. OPC has nothing to present.
Mr. Chair?
Thank you, Your Honor. Staff would like to call Ms. Tanika Alexander to the stand.
Raise your hand, please. Do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
Good afternoon, Ms. Alexander. Could you please state your name and occupation for the record?
The green light should come on if you press the button.
My name is Tanika Alexander, and I am the Public Utility Auditor for the case.
And can you identify the document that you have with you, the testimony that you prepared for this case?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd like to mark the testimony as Staff Exhibit 1.
So marked.
Was this testimony prepared by you?
Yes, it was.
And are there any edits or changes that you need to make to the testimony?
No.
And could you describe what your testimony concludes?
My testimony concludes that staff found that the charge for Hagerstown is reasonable, that they did acquire a new energy contract, and I was able to just list the different changes of the PJM charges throughout their contracts.
Thank you. Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move Staff Exhibit 1 into evidence.
Is there any objection?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Alexander's testimony will be marked and entered into, and the attachments that were provided in response to staff data requests will be marked, entered into the record as Staff's Exhibit 1.
Thank you. I have no further questions at this time.
Are there any questions for Ms. Alexander?
I do not, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
If I may, Your Honor, did I move my exhibits into evidence? If I didn't, I shall do so now.
I think they were identified.
Yes.
Is there any objection to the
No
company's
objection, Your
exhibits?
Honor.
No objection.
Okay, that will be, I believe it was Exhibit 2
HAG
was.
1 and 2.
Yes, and I'm going to enter them collectively, both pages, as Exhibit 2.
There's 3 pages, Your Honor.
Correct. The
Yes.
schedule HAG 2, 2A, and 2B.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes. Ms. Alexander, were there any other questions for Ms. Alexander? I had some questions. You did the ACA calculation, and you agreed with the company's calculation.
I do, yes.
Did staff do any other analysis of the impact to a residential ratepayer's bill going forward with the new contract?
Yes, just a brief customer impact, which I saw was a 2.4% change for the average residential customer. And I did not include that recalculation, but I can provide that for you.
Well, the 2.4% increase, I believe you're referring to on page 7 is customer usage. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, my question is related to the projected increase with the new contract that starts June 1st for the new purchase power agreement. Mr. Fritinger testified and provided in the memo that he estimated about a $20
Okay.
impact to an average residential customer's bill. Did staff do any other analysis that would verify that?
No, not for the year that would be trued up for in the next case. No.
You did say that you found the company's procurement process reasonable. Is it also competitive, in your opinion?
Based on what they have given me, I would say yes, but I would defer any questions to procurement to energy.
So you don't have an opinion as to whether the process was competitive and reasonable?
No, other than what the company told me, they were able to just seek out the prices based on, this was a relationship since 2005, that they could see that they couldn't continue any longer due to the increased pricing.
Are there any questions in light of my questions?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Does staff have any other witnesses? Okay. Mr. Rudabush, I'm going to ask you to provide a list by March 11th as a bench data request of how many suppliers the RFP was sent to, how many bids were received, and then how the list was shortened and came to the final contract with
Mhm.
AEP.
Yes, Your Honor. What was the date again?
March 11th.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. We'll do that.
Thank you. Is there anything else with respect to this case?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. We can go off the record.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, that's okay. I'll let you know if